Boys, so welcome to week 2 essentially, although this is kind of day 1 session. The session that I posted up last week was kind of your day 2 session, so it's because we started later in the week, we're kind of half a week behind, so this effectively is your day 1. Last week was your day 2. With that in mind, with regards to day 2 this week, you will be doing that same session that I posted last week. That is that day 2 session. But I want you to progress a little bit further. I want you to go to 4 sets of each exercise rather than the 3 that I told you to do. So that's the stage up, and that'll be your day 2 covered. So go back to that video later in this week for your second session and go to 4 sets per exercise per series. Yeah, and that'll be all good. Right, so do ADP warm-up. Goes without saying, do that twice. Mobility is awesome for you guys, particularly in your stage of development. I would encourage you to do more mobility than what is in that warm-up. There is some stuff that I posted online. Go and do some yoga, find some basic mobility stuff for athletes. The content online these days is incredible. Try and build that into your daily routine. At least a couple of times a week, ideally daily, like I said. But if you can get that in a couple of times a week, that would be hugely beneficial. And I cannot say that enough, but that's up to you, of course. Right, so do your warm-up if you haven't already. Lunge leg swaps is this an exercise that we've done before? Standing in a lunge position, you're going to jump up and switch your legs over. Oh, nice and fast. Really good contact, really good expression of force and power. Go higher than what I did in that example. Really challenge your balance to land with in that split stance, and go up again. Challenge your landing. Use your core. Hopefully your knees not going in and out. Really good exercise for expression of force to improve your speed, power, jumping ability, but also injury prevention. So have a good crack at that one. A2 is skipping / pogos. So if you've got a skipping rope and you like skipping, cool, go for that. If you don't have a skipping rope or you don't like skipping, pogos is the alternative, which is essentially skipping without a skipping rope. The key for this, we're doing 2-footed skipping or 2-footed pogos, is I'm trying to emphasize that stiff ankles, which we've spoken about in class before at the start of this year or throughout this year. And I'm not breaking at my knees to jump. It's just merely just an ankle plantar flexion and dorsiflexion exercise. So I want you to be really strong in those contacts. If you're on a solid floor, you should hear the balls of your feet as they touch the floor. You won't get that on carpet or a spongy floor like I've got. But the key is that real stiff ankle movement or lack of movement, and you will hear that noise if you're doing it properly. So we're going to do 20 of those. That looks like this. So we're going 2-footed jumping, nice and high. I want you to bring your toes up. 20 repetitions. Really key exercises again for expression of power. A really good one to build into your program. A3 is a Superman hold. So that's a back extension in a Superman position. Side on. That looks like this. So arms out in front. I'm going to extend up and raise my arms up. Back down, extend up, and back down again. So when you go up, hold for 1 second, 1 good second, and then control the movement back down. That's 6 repetitions. So just a quick repeat of those. A1 is the lunge leg swaps. That's 6. That'll be 12 each, or 12 jumps, so you get 6 each leg. Skipping the 2-footed skipping or pogos, that's 20 contacts. And the Superman holds, back extensions with the arms out in front, that's 6. 3 rounds of that, that's A1. Righto, so B1 is a press-up complex. I've got 3 styles of exercise, pretty basic styles of press-up exercises or variations in this one. Each are having 5 repetitions, so it's 5 plus 5 plus 5 will give you a total of 15. And first, so it's going to go like this. We're going to go wide. And when you go wide, I want you to go super wide. So go to if I go to normal press up hand spacing, I'm going one handprint outside, then I'm going again. So it's 2 handprints outside normal press up hand spacing or position. Good solid foundation, back is straight, core's engaged, go down, chest to almost touch, and back up. 5. And then so you do your 5 straight away, we go into the next one, which is military. So nice and close. My hands are probably 5 centimeters, my thumbs are 5 centimeters apart. Elbows are tucked in this time, and I'm going to bang out 5. Then I'm going to normal, conventional, which is a hand spacing outside of military, and then I'm going to do 5 more. So 5 wide, 5 military, then 5 normal, will make 15, and that is 1 set. B2 is core exercise. So we're going to do side prone, a dynamic side prone. So we're going hip drop with leg lift. So it's going to go like this. From my position, hip drop, up, leg lift. That's 1. Hip drop, up, leg lift 2, drop, leg lift 3. I have got how many reps? 15 reps on each side. So do 15 on your right elbow, switch over, 15 on your left. Make sure that your chest stays open. I'm not rolling over, I'm not putting that left hand on my right wrist like lots of people try to do. I'm staying open, my core's strong, I've got that line through my body, and that's maintained throughout that whole lift, particularly in that starting position. Rightio. B3. So I bent over row. I'm lucky enough to have a kettlebell. You may have some form of exercise equipment, a dumbbell, whatever. You may not. That is fine. There are many things you can use around your house to create a little bit of weight or improvised weight, essentially. You do not need much weight to carry out these movements if you do them correctly. A school bag with books in it is sweet. You should have access to those. If you don't have books, chuck some shoes in or some clothing in your bag. Now you've got a ready-made weight or dumbbell and you're good to go. I'm sure you can come up with other things. A 2-litre milk bottle or 2 litres of water is going to give you 2 kilos. So if you find 2 or 3 of those, string them together with a bit of rope, you've got 6 kilos, 4 kilos, 8 kilos, whatever it is. So the limit is your imagination, but you'll find something. Right, you need a chair. So we're just going to do a conventional bent over row. But we're going to slow down certain parts of the lift, which will help you to contract more muscle units, find more of your muscle fibers, essentially. And you'll still be able to get a really strong, challenging lift with minimal weight. So I don't need to go super heavy. This is a 12, which is probably too heavy, essentially. So don't be too concerned if you've only got 2 kilos, 3 kilos, that'll be absolutely fine. Alright, so just like my normal bent over row position, or bent over row, I'm going to set up in my strong position, core tight, bum back, nice strong stable foundation. I'm going to pick up my weight, whatever that might be. I'm going to row, so I'm going to exaggerate the eccentric component of the lift as well as the isometric component at the top. So I'm going to pull up, I'm going to hold for 1, 2, that's my isometric portion, then I'm going to lower for 1, 2, 3 seconds, which is the eccentric. Back up, 1, 2, and then back down for 1, 2, 3. So I'm sure you're aware of the 3 types of muscular contraction. We're using all 3 in that lift, the eccentric, the concentric, and the isometric. So we're holding for 2 seconds in that isometric squeeze, or the top position of the lift. We're slowly lowering down in the eccentric for 3, and then we're pulling the concentric up, as we normally would, which will be about 1 second. So 12 on each arm for that. That's slowing down the movement, and that holding in that isometric position will increase the degree of difficulty, and that's why you won't need so much weight. But see how you go. A really good lift, particularly when you break it down and slow it down in those areas. Right, so that is B1, B2 and B3. So just to cover those off again, B1 is the press up complex of the wide, the military and then the conventional, 5 plus 5 plus 5, 15 repetitions. The side prone with the hip drop and then leg lift, you're going to do 15 of those as well. And then the bent over row with the normal pull up, the 2-second hold and the 3-second release. You're going to do 12 each side. So 15, 15, 12 times 3 sets of that. And that's you for the B series. Cool, so C series. I'm going to get you to use your weight again. Ideally, if you don't, body weight will be absolutely fine because we're going to break down this next lift just like we did for the bent over row. We're going to do a squat, just a normal body weight 2-footed bilateral squat. Again, we're going to use the 3-second eccentric component with the 2-second isometric hold, and then we're going to go back up for 1 like we did with the bent over row. And it will look like this. So I'm going to use my kettlebell again. I'm going to hold it in a goblet position. So I'll just come back. I'm going to go down for 3 seconds. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3. I'm going to hold for 1, 2, and then I'm back up. Show you again. 1, 2, 3. Hold for 1, 2, and back up. Again, just use what you've got. Use the exact same weight. You will need minimal weight or something very light, but body weight will be absolutely fine. If you're going with just body weight, I would increase it to 15 repetitions. If you've got a little bit of weight, go with 12, but just find your rep range between that 12 and 15 reps, depending on how you are, what work you've been doing and what sort of weight you're using. So that is C1. C2, this is a bit of a new lift. So a reverse plank. So it looks like this. You can see I'm creating a really nice flat shape at the top. My shins are perpendicular to the floor and my arms go straight down. I'm going to take this up and I'm going to hold. Then I'm going to lift one leg off and then take it back down. Next it's my other leg, my left leg, and back down. As I take it off, my leg off, I don't let my hips sink. So I'm not dropping down. I'm maintaining that nice flat line and I'm marching. Knee up and return it to the floor. Knee up, return to the floor. That's a 40-second hold with the leg lift. Don't let yourself sag, like I said, and don't get the opposite with a big arch, taking your hips too high. Get that nice box shape for that reverse plank. And lastly, in that C series, we have a single leg calf raise, which should go without saying. We've done this multiple times. The key is that we really focus on what's happening around our ankle joint and that we're going up on the balls of our feet for that nice strong plantar flexion position to engage our calf muscles, or the right calf muscle, and then controlling the lowering phase of the lift as well to maximize the benefit. You don't need any weight added to the single leg calf raise. The movement itself, if done properly, will be enough stimulus to get what we want out of that one. I'll just give you a little bit of a demo so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I go against the wall for a bit of balance, or something to balance. I'm going right up on my toes and then I'm slowly lowering back down my heel to the floor. We have typically done these elevated, so on the edge of a plate or a step, which you can do if you have access to something like that. If you don't, from the floor is more than appropriate, and that's cool. So I recap the C series. So that squat with the 3-second lowering or eccentric component of the lift, 2-second isometric hold, and then 1 second as normal back up to the top. And we're going to do 12 repetitions of that. The reverse plank with leg lift, that is a 40-second hold, and we're just alternating the march, so nice and slow and controlled. It's not a quick rep thing. I want that control, your glutes, hammies engaged, and your core supporting to hold that bridge. And lastly, the single leg calf raise, nice and controlled movement, both the up and the eccentric component, which is the lowering of the heel back down to the floor. And that's 12 each side. So do 3 sets of that one. And again, we've got a little volume finisher for the upper body. So once you've done your C series circuit, or sets and reps, we're going to do an alternating press up finisher for a bit of volume, a bit of muscular endurance. We're going for 35 repetitions, and it looks like this. So I'm taking my left hand forward, my right hand back. I'm going to push up, and then I'm going to alternate. So right hand goes forward, left back, press up, press up. I'll show you side on. Get an idea of where my hand spacing is. About there, press up, change, press up. So I want you to bang out as many as you can in your first attempt. You might be able to go to 35, and that's great. If you can't, that's absolutely no problem. But the key is that you give yourself the minimal rest possible to get those 35 reps done. It's essentially one set, but if you have to break, take a quick break, go straight back into the rep, keep going till you total 35 reps, and then you are done. So just a reminder that your day 2 for this week will be last week's session. So revisit that video, and we're going to 4 sets. So that's the progression. Get stuck into it and get moving.